I heard Eddie Salman is going to launch his own brand under the name Eddie Salman Arm. What do you think about that? Is it true? So I haven't heard about this, to be honest. So I'm not too sure. Like I couldn't tell you. I haven't heard that at all, actually. So I don't actually know. But that would be interesting. I think most people have said that Eddie Salman needs to start his own brand. Those are the people, especially that don't like his aesthetic, and they always say that his aesthetic is so distinctive. Why does he always turn all the brands that he goes to the Eddie Slimane world? Like Dior, Celine, Salon Paris. So I think him starting his own brand is what most people I think would think is the best thing for everyone. Like everyone wins in that case. I think that's what most people think. So yeah. Wait, he just made a new Insta, so people already make stuff up. Oh, I didn't know that Eddie Samar made a new Insta. Could you tell me what it's called? I want to have a look actually. Thoughts of a Cold War post Samuel Ross. To be very honest with you, I haven't really been in tune or in touch with a Cold War since Samuel Ross left. I just haven't been that interested because I'm interested in Samuel Ross. I want to know what Samuel Ross is doing. So if he's not at a Cold War, then I don't really have any interest anymore. So I'm going to follow what Samuel Ross the person is doing. What brand slash designer is up next for 2025 in your opinion? When you say designer, do you mean like completely unknown designer? Because up next, what does that mean, right? In terms of a designer that I think is going to become way bigger next year, I think Louise Trotter, because it seems like a lot of people still don't know who she is, and I feel like she might do something really interesting at Bottega. But then in terms of up next from like a really like emerging brand or emerging designer, I don't really know because it's hard to say if they're up next because they're not going to do. Most small brands aren't going to do anything in 1 year that's going to catapult them into stardom. So would that mean they are up next? I don't know. What is the discourse around Gosha's return to fashion as of now? Do people even care at this current point? Or should he just call it quits? Doesn't Gosha have GR Uniforma? Yeah, this is Gosha Rubchinski's brand. Shortly after Gosha Rubchinski closed down, he opened up GR Uniforma, and that's kind of been his brand that he's been running since. So I don't know that he ever really left fashion. I feel like he's always been around. Let me see if they have. Yeah, they've got Instagram too. Yeah, this is Gosha's thing, and they're doing collaborations with Adidas and all of that. So yeah, I think maybe people just didn't realize that the GR stands for Gosha Rubchinski. Any guess as to who the next creative director for Margiela will be? Everyone is saying Glenn Martens. I have seen some other names pushed into the fold, but I won't really say. I don't want to over speculate, but people have been saying Glenn Martens. Did we talk about Lucy and Luke Meyer going to Loewe once JW Anderson goes to Dior? Yeah, I've talked about that more on the Discord. If you guys aren't part of the Discord, definitely join the Discord. There should be a link in the description of the live. So if you follow my link tree, you should find a Discord link there and you can chat with us. But yeah, I did talk about that on the Discord. But if you want me to bring the conversation here, I can. Let me just load up Miss Tweed. Okay, yeah. So for guys that aren't aware, this is kind of news from Miss Tweed, which is, Miss Tweed is kind of the person that, well, the platform, I'd say, that shares like all this like behind the scenes news that sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not. But Miss Tweed, for the most part, is quite reliable. I mean, in the case of who was going to be the next creative director of Chanel, Miss Tweed was all over the place. Miss Tweed must have, suggested at least 10 names for the Chanel role. But Miss Tweed did post that Lucy and Luke Meyer are about to part ways with Jill Sander via industry sources, and they could be heading over to Loewe as the creative director role is vacant when Jonathan Anderson leaves to, take over Dior from Maria Grazia-Chiuri. So a lot of assumptions, a lot of rumors, but that's the latest rumor right now in fashion for guys that weren't aware. Got to give it to Virgil. He worked and lived his full life until the very end. Most people would have given up on life so soon. Yeah, I find it absolutely insane how much he was doing and working creatively considering his health condition. But also, I guess part of it could have been that knowing that unfortunately he was like not going to be around for much longer. He wanted to maximize his years on Earth, and I mean, you can only commend that, to be honest. Oh my god, that's a dark question. If you could bring back one dead designer to design one collection, who would it be and why? Damn, that's like really dark. Oh my gosh. I would bring back Issey Miyake, because I'm a huge Issey Miyake fan, and I feel like because he was so revolutionary with textiles, I want to see what his proper solution would be to the whole leather conversation and like vegan leather. Like if we gave him like a good amount of time to develop stuff and then make a whole, you know, collection on like synthetic leathers, that would be insane. I want to see what Issey Miyake could do. What's your opinion on Pharrell and LV so far? Do you feel his stint is to cycle out the Virgil toned ideas until someone sends LV in an entirely new direction? Or do you think this partnership will be a longer term thing? Oh my god, by the way, guys, you guys are asking some really good questions. Let me just put a Louis Vuitton runway show on the screen, like a Pharrell Williams Louis Vuitton runway show. But anyway, while I'm at it, what I will say is that I don't sometimes like the conclusions that Pharrell Williams comes to when it comes to a lot of his like runway shows and his collections. However, I do like what he does accessories wise. I think he makes really good accessories. I think that he has very much made men wear speedy bags, especially the kind of men that wouldn't wear speedy bags before. He's made speedy bags really, really, really relevant for a class of men that wouldn't consider wearing them before, and made them fun with all the different colors and stuff and like all the other stuff that he's doing. So I think he's really good at designing accessories. I think he has some interesting ideas, and I think he knows the audience that he's designing for. But I don't necessarily like his ideas creatively. I don't like the conclusions that he comes to, but I still think that he's a net positive for Louis Vuitton. I don't know what their sales figures are in terms of specifically the menswear, but it seems like he's doing well. Yes, this is another point. Yeah, I think Heide Ackermann is going to be at Tom Ford for a while too. So that's what I mean. I think a lot of these recent appointments aren't... Yeah, I don't see how they could end up bad, or like designers leave all of a sudden. What do you think about all the creative directors moving to brands? Matthieu Blazy to Chanel, Trotter to Bottega. Someone asked about this earlier. So I think it's very much like a changing of the guard, I feel like. From like kind of like the old guard-ish to this new generation of designers, like the Matthieu Blazys, the Louis Trotters, these kind of designers coming through to the height of fashion. So it feels like a changing of the guard. It does feel like there has been a lot of a shuffle. Heide Ackermann to Tom Ford, you know, Sarah Burton to Givenchy, like all these designers going to all these places. But I think from 2026, everything is going to slow down. And then from there, we're going to see these designers settle and really have long tenures at these brands. So I think it's more, you know, it's more a changing of the guard in that way. It's just a changing of the guard. This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind-the-scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club, where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.